Hello my friends, today we are gonna create this awesome full-stack e-commerce web application using React, Node.js, MongoDB and Stripe. This is the homepage. When I click any category here, it displays all products of that category. We can filter items and we can sort. Let's explore the item. We can choose the color and size and add it to the cart. And it shows up here immediately because we are using Redux. Let's add one more item and check the cart. All items are here and we can also check out using Stripe payment method. After verifying client and credit card information, we are gonna see the money in Stripe dashboard right away. And of course, we are gonna have an admin dashboard. We can see the latest users, orders, some analytics. They all come from our Node.js API. Let's check the products. There is an awesome data grid here. We can delete them, edit them, and we can create a new product. And you don't have to use any link for your images. They are automatically being uploaded to Google Firebase storage. During this tutorial, you will learn how to integrate React and Node.js, how to use Redux, how to authenticate your clients and provide security using JWT, Google Storage, Stripe Library, React Router DOM, hooks, and more. It's the last part of the e-commerce series. If you didn't watch the design part and the API part, you might be confused. So I recommend you watch them first. And that's all. I hope you will enjoy. If you want to see more tutorials like this, please like the video and subscribe. And you can support the channel by using the join button or the link in the description below. It helps me to create more free open source projects like this. Okay, if you are ready, let's get started. Okay guys, firstly we have two folders here. First one is our API, our Node.js API, and second one will be our client side, which is React UI. And later we are gonna create admin folder also, but for now we are gonna take care of our API and client side. And if you don't have these two folders, you can go to our YouTube channel GitHub repository, and here if you write shop, and you are gonna see our Node.js API and React Shop UI. You can just clone these two folders, and after that, if you directly clone your API and client branches from GitHub, don't forget to create your env file here, because it contains all our secret keys, and here you should provide your own MongoDB access key. If you don't know how, please just watch the previous videos. It's really important guys. If you don't want to be confused, please follow the first and the second part, then come back and watch this video. And during this video, we are going to make some changes in our API and client side. For example, if you remember, in our models and products, we just store our size and color as strings, but it's nonsense to store them like that because products can have more than just one color and size. So I'm gonna change them and they are gonna be array. And also I'm gonna add here one more thing, and it's gonna be in stock. And I will say type boolean, and by default it's gonna be true. Okay, that's all. I will save and I can open my terminal, and I'm gonna open one more terminal. It's gonna be API side, so I will say cd API, and I'm gonna run my application. I will say yarn start, and backend server is running and DB connection is successful. Awesome. I will do the same thing here, cd client and yarn start. And it's here. Okay. Before starting, I just created some products here, 8 products or something. You can do the same thing, just give title, description, image, and sizes, color, something like that. Of course, later we are gonna add them in our admin panel, but for now, for showing inside our client side, it's necessary just create some of them, and we are going to show them here. Okay. So firstly, I want to show you how to route your components by your URL. To do that, we need React Router DOM library. Let's open here, reactrouter.com. And as you can see, we need this library first. And after, we are gonna import these components. And finally, we are gonna route our components. For example, for this route is calling about component. For users, user component is gonna work like that. Let's import this first. I'm gonna open new terminal. I can close here. And it's gonna be cd client again. And inside, I will say yarn add or npm install react router DOM. So let's close this product and let's open up our app.js inside client folder. Source and app.js. Okay. So let's copy here and paste. You don't need link, we can delete it. And after, we are gonna use root component here, and after our switch block and inside routes. Let's do that. I will delete homepage, and here I will say router, and inside switch, and finally our routes. Okay, first route will be our homepage, and I'm gonna provide here my URL, and it's gonna be path and just slash, which is homepage. Let's see. I will save. I can close here and I'm gonna refresh the page. As you can see, it's still homepage. So I can duplicate this, and here, for example, products, and I'm gonna call my product list component. Remember, it just shows our product list. So I will save, and if I write here products, as you can see, it's still homepage. That's because before product word, it just sees this slash and automatically it renders this route. To prevent this, only thing you should do is writing here exact. In this case, as you can see, it's our products list. By the way, we can add here any parameter, for example, all or woman, t-shirt, something like that. To do that, I'm gonna write here one more slash and colon and category. Basically, if you write here colon and some word, it's gonna be your parameter. So if I write here woman, as you can see, it's still our list. Awesome. So let's do the same thing for single product. I will delete here. And instead of category, it's gonna be product ID. So let's change here. Product page. I will save. And let's delete here. Of course, I forgot ID. You can write here any ID. And as you can see, it's our single product. Perfect. It's really easy, as you can see. So let's copy this, cards, login, and register. Card is gonna be our card component. Oops, wrong place. It's gonna be here. Cards. Login. It's gonna be login component, and finally register. Let's see. I'll say card first. Okay. Login and register. Okay, perfect. It works. But there's a problem here. If we have logged in user, we shouldn't see this register or login page, because we already have a user To prevent this, for register and login route, I'm gonna write a condition. Of course, we are gonna use Redux for login process, but for now, we can just write a dummy variable here and see how to route our components. So let's say const user is gonna be true. We are gonna delete this later. So for login page, I'm gonna write a condition. I'll say if there is a user, if there is logged in user, we are gonna be redirected to home page. So I will use redirect component. The URL will be just home page. If there is no user, we can just visit our login component. There is no problem. I will delete here. Of course, I should close this tag. Okay, it didn't import this, so I will just copy and paste here. Let's see. I will try to go to login page. And as you can see, it redirects us to home page. That's because we have user. I can do the same thing for register. If there is a user, we are going to home page. If there is no, we can visit register page. Okay, in our home page, as you remember, we have categories, but we can't click any of them. When we click this component, we are gonna go to our product lists. So let's do that. Let's open here, and inside our components, as you remember, we have category item, and we have container here and image inside, and finally item title and shop now button. But as you remember, we are fetching this data from this file. As you can see, we have slider items, categories, but here we don't have any category name. So let's add here some categories. I'll say category, and it's gonna be woman. And for others, let's say coats, and maybe, I don't know, jeans. Okay, that's enough. So I can use this category right now. I'm gonna open category item again, and here after container, I'm gonna create my link, and it's gonna come from our React router DOM. I'm gonna close. And I'm gonna cover my info here. And inside my link, I can write my URL. It's gonna be products. And it should be a category name here. So I'm gonna use backtick here instead of quote. And I will cover with curly brackets. And inside, I can write my category, which is item.category. There is something wrong here. It should be here, of course, our slash. Okay, let's save and see. As you can see, on the bottom left, we have products and women, coat and jeans. I will click, and we are going to products and women. Perfect. And here, as you can see, we have static products. So how I'm gonna use this category name and fetch data from our API? Firstly, let's open up our products list, which is product page. Components, pages, and here, product list. Okay. What we have here, category title, filters. We can choose color, size, and also we can sort by their prices. Okay. And after that, after these filters, we are calling products component and newsletter and footer. Let's see what's inside. Components and products. It's just a container which contains our cards. So basically, we are gonna fetch data here, but before, we are gonna need our filters, category here, and this sorting value. We should import this filter, sort, and category from parent page. So let's do that. Products list. And here, firstly, I'm gonna take my category name. It's really easy. The only thing we should do is use location hook. So I will say const location, and it's going to be use location hook, and let's say console log and location. If you open up your console, by the way, there is some error inside our select tag, that because selected belongs HTML, instead selected, we can use default value. As you can see, we have disabled and selected methods here. We are gonna change this later, but it's not important for now. Let's take care of our object here. As you can see, this is our location, and we have path name here. And inside, our key after our main URL, products and women. So I can split this string if I write here location and path name, and I will split. It's gonna split from slash, and I'm gonna take second element. Let's see right now. And as you can see, it gives woman. If I change here code, it's gonna give me code. Okay, so I can use it. It's gonna be my category, so I will say const category, and it's gonna be this value. Right now, I'm gonna take my filters. When I change any of them here and here, we are gonna create an object, and we are gonna change values inside this object. To do that, I can use state hook. So I will say const filters and set filters, and it's going to be use state hook. And at the beginning, it's going to be an empty object, and after that, whenever we change this color or size, we are going to update this state. How I'm going to do this? I can delete this, by the way, to prevent this error. Okay, and after that, for these select methods for color and size, I'm gonna write on change event, and it's gonna call handle, let's say filters. But as you realize, color and size use same function. How our function is gonna recognize which select is changing? We should write here name, and it's gonna be color, and for size, it's gonna be size. So basically, we are gonna verify our select tags by their name. Okay, let's create our function. Const, what was the name? Handle filters. And inside, of course, it should be event here, because we are gonna take value from our select methods, from our options. So I will say const value, and it's gonna be event, target, and value. So let's set our filters. So I will say set filters, and it's gonna update like color red and size medium. To decide this, we can use their names. It's really easy to do that. I will say event target, and it's gonna be name. By the way, it's target. Okay. So basically, we have chosen our name, and it's gonna be our value here, which we created. Let's console log this filter and see better. Of course, it's gonna be some problem here. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna open my console. It's still here, that because we didn't change this sort product select. Okay, it doesn't matter. As you can see, it's an empty object for now. I will choose black, and right now color is black, and I'm choosing medium, for example, and as you can see, it updates only size. There is no color inside. To prevent this problem, so we can use spread operator here, and we are gonna say filters. Oops, filter. I will save. I will refresh the page. It's empty right now. And I'm choosing blue, for example. As you can see, color blue and medium. Right now, blue and medium. I can change here. Awesome. It works. So our category is ready, filter is ready. One more thing we need, and it's gonna be sort. Let's change here, sort. Set sort. And at the beginning, it's gonna be newest items. Even if we don't change here, it's gonna be just newest items. So let's change them. I'm gonna create new onChange method here for price. I can delete here, by the way. Okay, for select, I will say onChange method, onChange event, and here I'm gonna set my state directly here. So I can use event and set sort. It's gonna be event target and value. But as you can see, we don't have any value here. It's gonna take these strings and it's no sense. We can just write here some shortcuts. So it's gonna be value, let's say newest. And for others, it's gonna be ASC and DESC. So our all filters and category and sort are ready, so I can delete here and I can use all of these values inside our products here. Category is gonna be category that we created. Filters is gonna be filters. By the way, why I write here filter, it's gonna be filters. Okay. And finally, sort is going to be sort filter. Okay. Let's save. And let's open up our products component here. And I'm going to take those props. So I'll say category, filters, and sort. Let's write them here. Console log. And let's see. I will refresh the page. As you can see, our category code, we don't have any filters, and newest is our sort product here. I'm gonna change this color, for example. As you can see, still code, red and newest. And it works. Awesome. Perfect, guys. Right now everything is ready to fetch our data, and I can delete this console log, and I'm gonna fetch my data here. Firstly, I'm gonna create use state and I'm gonna define my products. So I will say const products and set products is gonna be use state, and at the beginning it's gonna be an empty array. And after that I'm gonna create one more product state, but this time it's gonna be filtered product. And set filtered products. I'm using this because whenever we change our filter, we are gonna update these filtered products and we are gonna show by those filters. Let's create here use effect. I'm gonna create function. I'm gonna write my dependency, which is category. So basically this means when the category changes, just run this function. Which function we are gonna run? We are gonna just get products from our API. So how I'm gonna make get and post requests? To do that, we are gonna be using Axios library. So I will say yarn add and Axios. We can use JavaScript fetch also, but Axios is really easy to use and more advanced for me. So we are gonna use it. Okay, let's create our function here. It's gonna be const get products. and it's going to be async function, that because we are making requests to our API. So it's going to be try and catch block. We are going to take this error and it can stay. We are going to take care of this later. So let's write here const response is going to await our request, and we are going to use Axios here. As you remember, Node.js API, we are fetching our data using get method, and inside, remember our URL, API URL, HTTP, localhost, and 5000, and our endpoints, which is API and products. By the way, we should import this here. Import Axios from Axios. After fetching data, let's console log this first, and after we are going to update our products. Response. Okay, it's not here, that because we didn't call our function. Get products. By the way, there is a typo here. Products 5000 and products. Let's try again. And as you can see, we have an object and inside data, and our all products are here. Awesome. Let's look inside our API folder and routes and products. We have create methods, update, delete, get product, and get all products. And as you remember, we can write here any category as a query. To do that, we are going to use request, query, and category. So let's do that. I will come here, and after products, I can write here my query. So for example, if I write here category, let's say code, for example, I will save. And as you can see, this time we have only 3 products and they are codes. Awesome, it works. But there's a problem because in our homepage, remember, we are listing these products also here. So it doesn't have to be any category. So I can write here a condition. Let's close here. I will come here and say, if there is a category, use this URL. And inside, instead of this static string, we are going to use our category, which we took from our parent. Okay. If there is no category, just fetch data from this URL. So it's going to fetch all products. Okay, right now I can delete this console log and update my products, set products, and it's going to be response and data. So we have products right now. We can use it, and whenever we change any filters, we are going to set our filtered products. To do that, I'm going to write here one more use effect. My function and my dependencies will be category and filter. Filters, I forgot again. Okay, so I will say if there is a category, set filtered products, and we are gonna set them by using filters. So I will say products is gonna be our dependency also, and I will say filter and take each item, and we are gonna check whether our item includes those filters or not. It can be a little bit confusing if you don't know JavaScript filtering. We are going to choose our filters and look inside each key and value. For example, color, yellow, and size is medium. And in this case, our keys are color and size, and our values are yellow and medium. And after that, we are going to try to match them with our product items. If any item includes those filters, those keys and values, we are gonna display them. So I will say object and entries, and I'm gonna choose filters here. And for every item, I'm gonna take key and value. And after that, I will say if item key includes the value, we are gonna filter it. I know it can be confusing for the beginners, but I highly recommend you to learn how to filter objects and arrays in JavaScript. It's going to be really useful for you. Let's see. I will say console log, or we can just directly display them. I will come here and after container, and here instead of popular products from our dummy data, I'm gonna write filtered products. Let's save. As you can see, all products inside our DB. I'm choosing medium here, and as you can see, it's filtering. I will choose yellow. Okay, it's not showing because inside our DB it's just lowercase. How we are gonna do this? I will come here, and so we can update them. Black, and I'm doing this like that because in my DB our colors are lowercase and sizes are uppercase. It was a mistake, but I don't want to change DB right now. Basically, you can come here and say to lowercase, but in this case, our sizes will be lowercase. That's why I'm doing like that. In your project, just save your products lowercase and right here to lowercase function. Okay, let's see again. I will refresh the page. Medium, we have 3 items, and I will say yellow, and we are gonna see only this code. Awesome. So what about this sort? Let's do that. I'm gonna create new use effect. Use effect, and my dependency will be sort value. It's gonna be a condition. I will say if sort is newest, we are gonna set our filtered function again, filtered products. So basically I will choose previous filtered products, and after that I'm gonna sort it. I'm gonna create new array here, previous. So basically it contains all items inside our filtered products. So I will say sort, and I'm gonna write here my sorting algorithm. It's gonna be A and B, or whatever you say. Basically it's gonna just compare 2 items inside this array. So I'm gonna look at created at dates, created at minus b dot created at. If first one is greater, it's just gonna display the newest items. By the way, of course, it's a condition like that. So I can do the same thing for other conditions. I will say else if it's ASC, this time we are gonna check prices, and finally else, we don't need this anymore. This time it's gonna be lower price. I will change here. Okay. Of course, it can be more shorter and complex function, but I don't want to confuse you anymore after this filter. And here is gonna be price. Okay, let's see. Newest, the lower price, and the most expensive. Awesome, it works. Medium and yellow. Perfect. But there is still problem because of our home page. Let's see here. As you can see, we don't have any products here. That's because we don't have any filtered products. So I can write here condition. So I will say if there is a category, use this filtered array. If there is no, I can copy here. And if there is no category, this time it's gonna use products array. But it will be still problem that because we just display here 8 items, only thing I should do is slicing this array. So I will say slice and 0 to 8 and after map to array. Let's see. Okay, as you can see, we are going to have maximum 8 items here. If we have a category, we are going to able to filter these items. Perfect. Okay, let's write here our category name and give a link for this search button. For product list, I'm going to change here. It's going to be category. Like that. And for this button, I will come here, not products, it's going to be product component. And for search button, I'm going to write here link. Let's go over this button and I'm going to write here my URL. And it's going to be product and of course backtick and curly brackets. And here I'm going to write my product ID. It's going to be item.id. Let's see. I will click and we are in the product page. And this is our product ID. I can take this ID again. I will do the same thing like we did here. Location and category. I can copy this and for the product page here. Let's close everything actually. And open product. Okay. So I'm gonna paste here my location and this time it's gonna be product ID. We should import use location hook. Import use location and it's gonna be React router. Okay. Right now I can fetch my product using this ID. Let's create use state and use effect. I will say const product and set product. It's gonna be use state hook. And at the beginning it's gonna be object or you can write null, doesn't matter. And after that I will say use effect. And my dependency will be product ID. And here I can write my function. I will say const get product. It's gonna be async function. And inside try catch block. And I will say const response. I'm gonna be using Axios again. By the way, we can create Axios instance. We don't have to write Axios and URL again and again. So I will come here and inside source, I'm gonna say request method or methods. So let's import Axios here. And after that, I'm gonna provide my base URL. And it's gonna be HTTP localhost and 5000. And my endpoint is API. Don't forget this. Okay. Export const. And first one will be public request. And it's not gonna need any JWT inside our header. So I will say Axios and create. Let's write here base URL and it's gonna be our URL here. Base URL. Okay. And I'm gonna create one more here. And it's gonna be user request. In this case, we are gonna need header here. And it's gonna store our token. Remember previous lesson, we created JWT token and we are gonna write here bearer. And here it's gonna be our token. We don't have yet because we didn't log in, but we can create here. For now, let's say token. Let's open Postman and log in and we are gonna take this token. And here, remember, it's our shop collection. So I will choose login and I'm gonna log in as admin. I will send. And as you can see, this is our access token. I will just copy this and paste here. Okay. In this case, we can use this token. I will say backtick and here my token. Okay, awesome. Of course, we are doing this manually, but after login process, after using Redux, we are gonna take this from our storage and paste here. Okay. And for fetching data, which one we are gonna use? It's gonna be just public request, because to fetch any product, we don't have to be user or admin. So I will delete this and paste my public request. Let's import. I will choose my folder here. Request methods. And here I'm gonna paste my function. Okay. So it's gonna be get request, and I'm gonna write here my endpoint. This time we don't have to write HTTP localhost. It's gonna be only products and find. Remember our API. Products here, our roots. To fetch any data, we are just writing find and its ID. Let's do that. I will say ID, and after fetching data, I'm gonna set my product. I will say set product is gonna be response and data. I will call my function here, and I can use my product. Let's change this image. It's gonna be product.image. Let's see if it works or not. Okay, something is wrong. Let's check. Can't read image. Okay, we couldn't fetch any data. Let's see. Oh, I forgot slash here. And I forgot await here. Let's check again. And it's here. Awesome. So let's take care of this description, title, and other things. Okay, it's gonna be product and dot. I will copy this and title. Let's paste here and description. It's gonna be price. And for color, remember we have color array. So I can delete these two and I can map through my colors. So I will say product.color and I will say map. And for each color, I'm gonna return this component, filter color, and instead of black, I'm gonna write the actual color, which is C. And also we are using map here. Remember, we should indicate our key. Unique key is gonna be C again, because each color is unique. We don't have any ID here. Let's see. Okay, as you can see, we have only blue here. I will do the same thing for size. Let's delete them. And it's gonna be product, size, and map. And for each size, I will cover this. And here I'm gonna write S, which is our actual size. And here I will say key, it's gonna be size again, our unique key. And they are here. Awesome. So what about this quantity? When I click this, nothing is changing. Let's create a function and handle this quantity. But before, I should use another use state and provide a quantity here. Let's do that. I will create one more use state. It's gonna be quantity. And here, and at the beginning it's gonna be just 1. Let's add this here, quantity. Okay, so I'm gonna add click event for this remove and add buttons. So I will say on click, and I'm gonna write here any function. Let's say handle quantity, and I'm gonna write here a parameter, and it's gonna be decrease. Let's copy this and paste here, and this time it's gonna be increase. Let's create this function, const handle quantity, and here we are gonna choose our type, increase or decrease, and after that I will say if type is decrease and set quantity, it's gonna be quantity -1. And I will say else set quantity. Actually, I will just copy this, and this time it's gonna be +1. Okay, there is something wrong, so I can write here if there is size, so I can write question mark. I will do the same thing here. Let's see. And I'm gonna choose another product here, for example this one, and as you can see, color is yellow and we have small, medium and large. Okay, let's try this quantity. I will click, and as you can see, it's increasing, and here, but there is a problem. We can go under 0. We shouldn't do that. Let's add here a condition. So I will say if quantity is bigger than 1. I will refresh, and I'm clicking, and it's not going under 1. Perfect. So a user can choose any color and size. Let's take care of them. I will use 2 more use state here, and they are gonna be null at the beginning or just empty string, and here I will say color and size. Okay, let's set this color and size. So when I click this color filter, we are gonna choose any of these color inside our array. Of course, there is only yellow here, and for example for another product we are gonna able to choose any of them. So I will say on click event, and I'm gonna set my color. Set color, and inside I will say C. Okay, so what about this size? Remember, it's our select tag, so I can write here on change method, on change, and I will write event and set size event.target and value. Okay, when I click this, it's gonna be yellow, and when I click any of them, it's gonna choose our size. And after choosing quantity, we are gonna able to add this product to our cart. So let's write our onClick event for this button. I will come here and say onClick, and it's gonna be handle click. Const handle click, and here update our cart. Of course, we can write here Axios and post method, and we can update our cart or create new cart. But doing this here is not a good idea, that because we are going to be using Redux. Fetching products or lists are not important here. We can fetch them directly, but when it comes to cart, it's really important, that because we are updating our cart inside different component. So when I click this, we are going to update this number. And transition should be instant. If you didn't watch the Redux explanation video, I highly recommend to watch it. That's because I'm not gonna deep dive into every little pieces. If you don't know why we are using Redux or how we are using, you should go watch it and come back here. So let's create our first Redux. To do that, I'm gonna add here two libraries. It's gonna be yarn add, Redux Toolkit, and also React Redux. Okay, let's delete here and let's create our Redux folder. Inside source, I'm gonna say Redux. And inside, I'm gonna create CRUD Redux.js. And here, I'm gonna create Redux slice. To do that, I will say import create slice. And from Redux Toolkit. So let's create our first slice. It's gonna be const CRUD slice. And I will say create slice. And inside, I'm gonna create my first object, name, let's say CRUD, and my initial state. And here, what we are gonna have. Firstly, we are gonna have some products, and at the beginning, it's gonna be an empty array. And after that, we are gonna have quantity. It will be 0. Basically, it indicates how many items inside our cart. In the example, it's 4, but at the beginning, it's gonna be 0. And finally, we are gonna have total price, and it's 0 again, because we don't have any product. Okay. And after that, we are gonna have reducers. And again, if you don't have any idea what I'm doing, please watch the Redux video and come back here. So which reducer we are gonna be using? First one will be add product. Basically, we are gonna add some products inside our cart and we are gonna increase quantity and total. And here, I'm gonna take my state, my previous state, and action. After that, let's open an object and let's update our state. Firstly, state.quantity will be +1 because when we click this button, we are gonna increase this quantity number, so it's gonna be +1. And after that, we are gonna update our products, state.products, and it's gonna be push and action.payload. So what's this payload? It's basically our new product. And finally, state.total. I'm gonna increase this again, and it's gonna be action.payload and price. Actually, I can say here product, and we can separate this price also. You are gonna understand better right now, don't worry. By the way, we can do this only for Redux Toolkit. If you are using normal pure Redux, you cannot mutate your state like this. Okay, let's use this initial state first. Inside our navbar here. It's gonna be 0 and our products will be an empty array. To do that, firstly, I'm gonna import my reducers and my default function. So I will say export const, it's gonna be add product, and I will write here cart slice and actions. And one more export is gonna be export. This time it's gonna be default because we are gonna use it inside our store, and it will be cart slice and reducer. Okay, so how we are gonna use these actions and reducer? I will come here and create new file. It's gonna be store.js. We are gonna create a global store, And after that, we will be able to use this store in every pages and components. Let's do that. I will say import from Redux Toolkit, and it's going to be configure store. And let's import our reducer. Import, let's say, cart reducer, cart Redux. Okay, let's create our store. I will say export default and configure store. And here, let's open new object, and inside I'm gonna write my reducers. We are doing this because we are not gonna have only just one reducer. We are gonna have users also. So we should indicate here are all reducers. First one will be cart. And it's gonna be our cart reducer. To use this store, we should wrap our application with a provider. To do that, I will open index.js, and here I'm gonna import my provider and store. I will say import provider from React Redux. And after that, Redux folder and store. Let's write here store. Okay. Let's delete here and wrap our application with provider. And I'm gonna pass my store here. Store equals store. Okay. I've already explained all of these things in the Redux video. I will close here and here. Okay. Let's open up our navbar. Here. As you remember, we have a badge here and it represents our cart. So how I'm gonna use this cart? It's really easy. We are gonna use an awesome hook. I will say const cart. Remember, in our store we have cart, we can use it. So I will say use selector hook. Let's import this. Use selector from React Redux. Okay. So firstly, we are gonna take our state and we are gonna choose our cart inside this state. So it's gonna return us state.cart. Let's see what we have here. Console log and cart. I will open my console, and as you can see, our cart is here and it's our initial state. Awesome. So inside our navbar, we are using only this quantity. So instead of cart, I can choose only this quantity. Let's write here quantity, and instead of all cart, I will choose just this one. Let's see again. As you can see, it returns only 0. Perfect. We can use this here. Let's delete here, and instead of 4, I will say quantity. You are gonna see how easy to use Redux. Let's come here, our product. I will close here. And right now, what we should do is calling our action, add product action, and passing our product and price as payload. What I mean by that? I'm gonna call add product action, and I'm gonna pass my product. You can write product equals product, or you can just leave it like that after ex6. And also, I'm gonna pass here my quantity. Remember, we already have here. I can pass directly. Okay, but it's not gonna work. That's because we have to dispatch this action. Our application doesn't know it's a Redux action or not. So how we are gonna do this? We are gonna create one more hook here. I will write here one more import, and it's gonna be React Redux and use dispatch. Okay, by the way, we are not using Axios, we can delete it. Okay, let's use this dispatch here. So I will come here and I'm gonna say const dispatch, and it's gonna be use dispatch who. So let's use this dispatch and wrap our action. I'll say dispatch, and I'm gonna wrap this. Let's delete this semicolon. Okay, that's all. I'm gonna close here, and I'm adding to cart, and it's 1, as you can see. I will add again. Awesome, it works. So if you open your console and choose here Redux, if you don't have, I highly recommend you to install this Chrome extension. It's also for Firefox, and you can see your Redux states here and difference, and you can trace them. There are many options here. And let's check our products. As you can see, let's open state actually. Our cart, we didn't pass any total. Let's come here and action payload and price. Let's write here price. And it's gonna be product.price. We have price here. If I multiply this price with this quantity, we are gonna have our total. So multiply by quantity. Let's refresh and see again. I will say state, as you can see, cart, and it's empty. I'm adding, and total $89, and quantity is 1. And inside there is only one product, which is our yellow code here. I will add again, and quantity is 2, and it's adding this price to our total price. It works like that. But we had mistake here, that because in our products, let's see, we have all products information here, title, description, image, but actually we didn't send which color we have chosen or size, and we didn't send our quantity. If I increase here and add to the cart, we are not gonna see this quantity actually. So instead of sending product, quantity, and price separately, I'm just gonna send one information here, and it's gonna include my all product information and also its quantity, product quantity. It's not cart quantity, don't forget, and also color and size. So basically we have title, description, image, price, and also its quantity, which we are increasing and decreasing here, its color and its size. In this case, I should change here. In this case, we have only one payload. I can delete here, and I'm gonna calculate my total here. We have action and payload and price, and also we have action and payload and its quantity. Again, don't mix this quantity with this quantity. It's cart quantity number. Okay, let's see again. And state, let's check. Okay, it's empty. I'm adding, as you can see, cart quantity, and also inside our products, all product information, and additionally its quantity here, which is 1. Let's add one more time. It's gonna be 5 products. I'm adding, and new product is here. Let's check. As you can see, quantity is 5, and our cart quantity is 2, and our total number is 534. And let's decrease this and choose color and size. I will add again, and as you can see, color yellow, large, quantity is 3, and it works. Perfect. So what about our cart page? When I click this button, it's gonna show cart page here. Let's add link. I will open navbar, and here for this menu item, I'm gonna write link. I'm gonna wrap this menu item, and here I'm gonna write my URL, which is cart. Let's click. As you can see, cart page is here. Okay, let's fetch our all cart items from Redux state. I will close here, and I will say cart component. Okay, let's use selector again. I will come here and I will say const cart, and it's gonna be use selector, and we are gonna take state, and we are gonna return state.cart. Okay, I can use my products. Inside our info container, we have product here and one more product here. We can just delete it. And we are gonna use map and list all products here. So I will take this product and wrap with curly brackets. And I'm gonna say cart.products and map, of course, cart here. And for each product, I'm gonna return this component. Let's move this here under product. Let's save and see. And as you can see, we have 3 items, but they all same. But we are gonna change it. We have our product. We can change this to product.title, and here product.id. Product.color. Size will be size. We didn't change this image. Let's change. Oh, it was a really long one. Product.image. What else we have? We have a month here. Product.quantity and price. Let's see. Maybe let's change this total price. How I'm gonna do this? It's gonna be product and quantity. Okay, perfect. They are same product, but we can change it maybe. It's gonna look better. So I will choose new product, this one, color yellow, medium, 2 of them, and add to cart. Okay, it's here. Let's turn back. This one maybe. Color, large, add to cart, and one more. Color, size, let's say 4, and add to cart. Okay, let's click again. As you can see, they all are here. Awesome. So let's change here, order summary. It's really easy. I will just change here. It's not product this time. We are going to be using our cart and total. Again, same here. Let's see. As you can see, it's the total number. Awesome. Right now, we are going to be using React Stripe Checkout. In the previous video, I've already explained that, how to use React Stripe Checkout and how to create our buttons. When we click Checkout button, we are going to see here a beautiful payment method, and we are going to give our information, cart information, and we are going to purchase our products. Let's add this library. I will say yarn add and React Stripe Checkout. If you skipped Stripe section in the previous video, you should check it first. That's because I'm just gonna copy and paste some pieces. So let's import our library first. Import Stripe checkout from React Stripe checkout. And here we should write our Stripe public key. To do that, let's create here our key. And it's gonna take our public key from React app Stripe inside our env file, but we don't have yet. Let's create. Inside client folder, I will say .env. And inside this file, key, and it's gonna be our public key. Let's open Stripe page and copy our public key. If you go to Stripe dashboard and test and developers, you are gonna see your publishable key here. Let's click this and copy. And I'm gonna paste here. Okay, and right now, let's go to our checkout button. Here, I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna paste my Stripe component. As you can see, it includes our brand, our image, and billing and shipping address will be included. And after that, we are gonna write here total amount and we are gonna multiply this by 100. Because Stripe works with cents, if you write here only 100 for example, it means it's $1. Okay, we don't have onToken function. Let's create. I will say const onToken and it's gonna get token from our Stripe. And finally, we are gonna set our token. To do that, let's create here useState const Stripe token and set Stripe token. It's gonna be useState and at the beginning it's gonna be just null. After taking token, we are just gonna set this Stripe token. Okay, let's see what we have. Console log. Oops, token. Okay. So let's check. I'm clicking this button. And as you can see, it displays this beautiful component. I'm gonna write here my test account and payment info. And here, let's write test account. I recommend you to check this on Stripe website, that because they are updating this time to time. So for now, it's gonna be like that. If I remember correctly, and I will say pay. Card number is correct, and as you can see, it returns this token. We are gonna use it. As you remember, inside our API and Stripe.js, inside our env file, we should add this Stripe key. And it's gonna be our secret key here. Let's just copy this and paste here. Okay, right now we are able to make this payment post request. What we are sending here, remember, source, and it's gonna include our token ID, it's gonna be amount, and finally currency, which is dollar. And if everything is alright, it's gonna send us our response, which includes our order, order date, shipping, and billing address, so on. Let's try. Remember, Stripe and payment. Sorry, checkout and payment. So after taking our token, I'm gonna write here a use effect. And dependency will be our token, Stripe token. And here, let's write our function. I will say make request. It's gonna be async function. And try catch block. And inside this block, I will say const response is gonna be await. We are gonna make user request. What was the name? Request methods, and yeah, user request. Okay, let's import. import user request from this folder and request method. And here my endpoint, which is checkout and payment. And here I'm gonna send my token ID, which is Stripe ID, and amount. And it's gonna be card.total and 100. Why it's Stripe token, sorry. Okay. In this case, after our response, we are gonna go to order page or success page. To do that, we can use history hook. Let's write here somewhere const history, and it's gonna be use history. After response, I will say history.push, and we can go any page. Let's say success. We don't have this page, but we are gonna create. By the way, it's inside Axios request. I will take this here. Okay. By the way, it's gonna be card.total and history also. Okay. Right now I can call my request here, my function. Let's try. Of course, we should create success page. Let's say success.jsx. I will just say successful. And by the way, we can pass any parameters inside our history. So let's say data and response.data. Of course, object. And I'm gonna use location here. Const location. It's gonna be use location hook. And let's see console log location. I'm gonna save and we are gonna try again. I will refresh the page. Of course, we don't have any product, but still we can do that. Test. I will pay. Oh, it's not checkout. Let's see. Index.js inside our API. Okay, API checkout. And payment. It looks okay, but oh, I forgot here post request. Let's try one more time. But it's making this request instantly. It shouldn't do that. That's because we are calling this function in any case. We should write here our condition. If Stripe token exists, we are gonna call this function. Let's refresh again. Checkout. Test. A24 1 2 3, and I'm paying. Okay, and there is an error. Okay, invalid request error. What did we send? Token ID. Oh, I forgot writing here ID, because Stripe token is an object and we are sending just an ID. I hope it will be last time. Check out now. Console. Okay. Okay, error again. Oh, our total is 0. We cannot send 0. It should be more than 1. So for now, let's change here. It's gonna be $5 maybe. And also you can write here other condition. I will say if cart.total greater than equals 1. But for now, I'm gonna delete here that because it's 0, but we are gonna change it. Don't worry. We are not seeing anything that because we didn't write any route. I think I need a break. I'm making a lot of mistakes. I will just show this one and I'm gonna take break and we will create our admin template. Let's create here one more route. If it's success, it's gonna be success page. Okay, it's here and this is our location. And inside, as you can see, we have state and we sent this data and all informations are here. So what we are gonna do inside this page, we should create our orders. Remember, inside our API, we have order route and we can create new order. And finally, we are gonna see all these orders inside our admin panel and we can ship the products to the user. Okay, so after this data, we can create user fact and we can create an order. And also we are gonna send our products to success page. That because we are just sending response and data, which is our Stripe information. Additionally, we can send our products. We don't have to send amount and address because our Stripe information already includes this data, amount and address. Okay, I'm gonna take a short break and I'll see that. Okay guys, let's take care of our login process. So I'm gonna create one more Redux. I will just copy this and paste again and I'm gonna change the name. It's gonna be user slice. And here I will change this name, user slice, and name will be user and initial state. Let's say current user. It's gonna be null at the beginning. And again, is fetching. It's gonna be false and error. And after that, I'm gonna create 3 reducers here. First one will be login start and state action. Actually, we don't need action. We are not gonna send anything at the beginning. It's gonna be login success and login failure. I'm doing this because it's gonna be an async function. We are gonna make API request, and if it's successful, we are gonna take action and payload, and we are gonna update our current user. So what I'm gonna do here, at the beginning, I will say state.is fetching, and it's gonna be true. And we are gonna make API request. We are gonna try to log in by sending our username and password. If it's successful, state.fetching will be false. We are gonna end fetching. And state.current user will be action and payload. Semicolon here. Okay. So what about here? If our username or password is wrong or there is something wrong with our API, our DB, its fetching will be false and error will be true. Okay, let's change here, user slice, and I'm gonna write my reducers here, actions. Login start, login success, and login failure. Okay, let's use this inside our store. It's gonna be one more store, and let's say user, is gonna be user reducer. Let's import. User reducer from user Redux. Oops, we said slice here. It can be slice also, doesn't matter actually, but let's say same thing here. Redux. Okay, so we have actions here, but we didn't make any API request. You can write this here, somewhere here, but also you can create API calls file, API calls.js, and here I'm gonna write my login function. So let's say export const is gonna be login. I will say async function, and we are gonna take dispatch and user information, which is username and password. And this dispatch is gonna come from useDispatch hook. After that, firstly, we are gonna dispatch our login start action. In this case, its fetching will be true and nothing else will be changed. After that, I will say try and catch block. If there is an error, we are gonna dispatch login failure action. Oops, I forgot here. Arrow function like that. Okay. So what we are gonna try? Let's say const response is gonna be await, and we are gonna make public request. Let's import public request from where was our folder? Okay, request methods. And it's gonna be post method, and my endpoint will be auth and login. Finally, remember what we are doing. We just sent our username and password. We are gonna take this from login page and we are gonna make post request. After that, if it's successful, we are gonna dispatch our login successful action. And here, remember, we are sending our action and payload. It's gonna be response and data, which is our user information. Our name, email, image, or whatever. Okay, something like that. Let's open up login page. And here we are gonna call this login function. Remember, we have username and password. Let's create here quickly two use states. Const username, set username is gonna be use state, and at the beginning it's gonna be just empty string. I will do the same thing for password. Set password, and again empty string. Let's write here on change method. It's gonna be event, and I'm gonna take this event and set my username. I will say set username, event, target, and value. Let's copy this and paste here. For password, it's gonna be set password. It will be the same thing. Okay, right now we have username and password. We are able to send them right now. Let's write here on click event, and it's gonna be handle login or click. Let's create this here. Const handle click. I will take event. That because we are gonna be using prevent default function. That because when you log in, when you send any input form, okay, we can't go by the way, that because we have user in our application. Let's make this false. I will try again. Okay, when you click this button, as you can see, it's refreshing the page. To prevent this, we are gonna write event and prevent default. I'm gonna save and let's try again. I'm clicking, as you can see, it's not refreshing the page. Okay, awesome. So after that, I can use my login function from Redux and API calls. And remember what we are sending. We are sending dispatch and user. Let's create here quickly dispatch. Let's do it here and here. And I'm gonna import this from React Redux. Okay, let's send this dispatch and our user, which is username and password. And that's all. Let's see. I hope everything is okay. I will open up my console here and Redux panel. Our user, as you can see, it's null. Let's write here admin. I don't remember my password, but I hope it's correct. By the way, we can see this password. If you come here and say type password, it's just gonna hide this password. Awesome. Let's try. I will log in. And as you can see, login start and login success. And right now, our all information is here. ID, username, email is admin, and our access token. Awesome. If I write here something else and login, as you can see, login start and login failure. So how we can use error and is fetching? It's really easy. Remember what we are doing. We are using useSelector hook. Const is fetching and error is gonna be useSelector hook, and we are gonna take our state.user, and right now we can use them. What I'm gonna do, basically I can write here a condition. I'll say disabled if it's fetching. I'm not gonna create another button for disabled, but we can change a little bit. Let's come here for our button. I'm gonna write here if disabled, color will be maybe green, and I will say cursor, it's gonna be not allowed. Let's see. I will log in, and as you can see, it's working. If I come here in the network section, and here I will choose slow version. So it's gonna make our connection a little bit slower and we can see better. I'm clicking, and as you can see, it's disabled. Awesome. Let's close here. And what about error? Maybe after login I can say error, something went wrong. Let's create this. I'll say const error, and it's gonna be style.span, for example. Oops, styled. And color will be red, like that. So I can write here my condition. I'll cover this, and I'm gonna write here if there is an error. Let's refresh the page. I'm sending, and as you can see, something went wrong. Awesome. I hope you understood. It was really easy. So right now we can go to app.js and we can update our user. So I will say use selector, and I will take state, and I'm gonna choose user and current user. Let's see again. I will say admin, my password, I will log in, and as you can see, we are in the home page because we have user. But the problem is when we refresh the page, we can still go login. That's because we don't have user. It turns back to initial state. So how we are gonna persist our state? Let's open Redux Toolkit, Redux Toolkit and usage guide, and I'm gonna search for persist. And it's here. As you can see, we are gonna make some changes here inside our store.js. I'm gonna copy this functions and paste inside our store here. And as you can see, we have persist config and persisted reducer. Let's paste here. And as you can see, we should indicate here our reducer, which we want to persist. It's gonna be user reducer. I'll say user reducer. And finally, we are gonna add this persisted reducer here instead of user reducer. And don't worry about this, guys. I'm gonna make a Redux persist tutorial soon, and I'm gonna explain everything here. But for now, you can just copy and paste them. After reducer, and finally, we are gonna export our persister. We should pass here our store, like that. And finally, we are gonna use persist gate inside our index.js, and we are gonna wrap our application. We have already done here, remember, but we should also add this persist gate. To do that, we should export this persister first. Let's say export here. And let's open up our index.js. Actually, I can import this from here. And persister. And I can make this export like that. Here and write maybe store. And it's gonna be configure store function. In this case, I can send this here. Okay, let's try. Of course, I forgot this persist gate. I will wrap here like that. And of course, to do that, we need Redux persist library. I forgot just installing here. Let's do that. Yarn add Redux persist. And after that, I'm just gonna import this here. And it's gonna be ready soon. Okay, why it warns us? We didn't use this here. Persisted. Okay. Let's see. I hope everything is okay. Let's try to log in again. Admin. Password. I will say login. And we are in the home page. I will refresh the page. And I will try to go to login. And we are still here, as you can see, because it's persisting. As you can see, our persisted user here, even if I refresh the page, it's gonna be still there. Like that. Awesome. So what if I want to persist this CRUD also? To do that, we are gonna be using combine reducers function. Combine reducers, and here somewhere here, let's say const root reducer. We can say root also here, and it's gonna be combine reducer. And here I will say for user it's gonna be user reducer. For card, it's gonna be card reducer. So I can use this here instead of user reducer. And finally, I can delete here and write persisted reducer. Let's see. I will refresh. Okay, let's try. I will choose this item and add to cart. Okay, it's here. So I'm going to home page, for example. It means I'm refreshing page, refreshing application, and it's still here. Let's try again. Perfect. So what else we can do here? It's almost done. Okay, I don't remember anything else, but if you want to, let's create our admin panel. If I find out I missed something here, we can turn back and take care of them. Okay guys, I just created one more folder here, which is admin, and inside I just clone my GitHub branch. Where you can find this folder, if you go to Lama Dev GitHub account and if you write here React admin, you can find this folder. So how you can clone this? Just open up your terminal and write here git clone, and we are going to be using only this branch, so you should write here single branch and b, and you are going to write here the branch name, which is React admin. And after that, just give a space and copy this main URL, this main repository URL, and paste here. And finally, let me just close this. Write here your folder name, which is admin. And that's all. If you do that, it's going to create this folder and all these files, but you are going to be missing Node modules. To install them, just write here yarn or npm install. And after that, you are going to get all these files. And finally, we are going to run our application. And it's here. After all this process, you are going to see your admin panel right here. And right now, we are going to make some changes. Firstly, we don't have any login page. Let's create that. I will open my source folder and here pages. And I will say login. By the way, if you didn't watch this admin panel video, I recommend you to watch it, that because I'm not going to explain any component here, any design part, we are going to just directly use it. I will say login.jsx. In the admin panel video, we are using CSS here, but I'm not going to do that. It's going to be a really simple login page. I don't want to waste time. Of course, you can create your own fancy login page, but for now, I'm just going to create just a small page, which includes just inputs. Okay, so I'm going to create my function. I will say input, type will be text, and placeholder, let's say username. And one more, it's going to be password, and type will be password also, because it's going to hide our text. And after that, I will say button. And let's write login or sign in. Okay, so how we are going to send our username and password? Let's create here use state hook. I will say const user set user, username. You can create also an object which includes username and password, use state. And at the beginning, it's going to be empty string. Let's do the same thing for password. Okay, let's change them. On change, and it's going to be set username e.target.value. Let's close here. Okay, that's all. Let's copy this and paste here, and this time it's going to be password. And finally, we are able to send our username and password. I'm gonna write here on click, and it's gonna be handle click. Let's create our function here. Const handle click is gonna be e, and I'll say e.prevent default. Remember, I'm just trying to prevent refreshing the page, so I will say prevent default. Okay, and after that we are gonna send our data to our API. But I'm not gonna do this here. That's because we are gonna be using Redux Toolkit. Let's create our Redux folder. I will close here, and inside source I will say Redux. Let's create our user slice. I'm passing here quickly that because we have already done inside our client side, so it will be a little bit faster. So store. Let's create our first slice. But before, we don't have necessary libraries like Redux Toolkit, React Redux, or even Axios. Let's import them. I will say yarn add Axios Redux Toolkit and React Redux. I will enter. Okay, they are ready. I will do exactly the same thing. So I will come here inside client, and I'm gonna copy my user Redux here. User Redux. Let's copy this and paste here. By the way, I said user slice. It could be user Redux. As remember, we have two reducers here, start, success, and failure. Let's create them. I will say API calls and JS. And again, let's come here and copy everything inside our API calls. And it's almost ready. One more thing we are missing, and it's our request methods. We have request methods, and we have public request and user request. Let's copy them. By the way, we are going to change this token. It's going to be dynamic. Don't worry about that. So let's close here and create request methods here. And I will paste here. We are going to handle this token, but before we should log in and persist user to local storage. And after, we are going to be taking all user information, including token, and we will be able to use it here. Okay, for now, I'm just going to close here. And we don't need that. We can create our store. And again, we can just copy and paste here. Store. And I'm going to paste here. Admin store. Let's close here, and we are going to make some changes. That because we have CRUD user, but we are not using it here, so we don't need that. And for now, we don't need root reducer either. That because we have just one reducer. So I will just comment this out, and I'm going to write here user reducer. Okay. By the way, we forgot installing Redux Persist, I think. Let's install quickly. Yarn add Redux Persist. And after that, I'm gonna open index.js and wrap my application with Redux store and Persist. Let's open up. I'm gonna import my functions, and after that, I'm gonna wrap my application. And I'm gonna provide my store here. Store equals store. And persist gate. Don't forget about that, otherwise you cannot persist your Redux states. So I will say persist gate and wrap this application again. And finally, loading null. And persister is this persister, which we created inside our store. Here. Okay, let's see. I will create here login function. To do that, we need dispatch. So I will say const dispatch and it's gonna be use dispatch from React Redux. Let's import. Okay, so I can dispatch my actions. Only thing I should do is calling login function from API calls. Login, it was login, or what was that? Yes, login. Let's import this also. Redux and API calls. Okay, right now I can send my dispatch value here, and also my user, which is username and password. And let's see. I hope everything is okay. And to see this login page, I should add my login route here. We have home page, user page, product page, and also, let's say, login. And I'm gonna call login page here. I will say login. But there's a problem here, that because if we are not logged in, we shouldn't see this sidebar or this navbar. We should be totally clear login page. It's happening that because our switch block inside this div, which includes sidebar and also top bar is the same level with our div. So that's why we are seeing them. So what we can do, we can move this switch here. And like that. And I can move this login route right here. Let's see. Let's center those items. And instead of any CSS, I'm gonna use inner CSS here. So I will say style and double curly brackets, and inside I will say display flags. Align item center and justify content center. And also I should give some height because it's not 100%. Let's say 100% or 100 VH. Let's see. Okay, they are here, but I can display them in the same column. So I will say flex direction and column. Okay, let's give some padding for these inputs. I'm gonna say style and padding 10 pixels maybe, and also I will say margin bottom, and it's gonna be 20 pixels. Let's see. Okay, nice. So what about this button? Let's say style and padding 10 pixels. Maybe it can be longer. Let's say with 100 pixels. Okay, it's enough, I think. It doesn't have to be beautiful. We are just gonna log in and let's try. I will say admin. By the way, let's open up the console. As you can see, this is our persisted state and it includes our current user, which is null right now. Let's try to log in. I will write my password and I will say login. And as you can see, we have user here. Username admin, email is admin, every information here. And this is our access token. So right now we can use this access token instead of writing just string. Let's open up request methods, and here I'm gonna delete this token. We don't need this anymore. I'm gonna fetch this token from our local storage here. How we are gonna do this? Let's open console and see what we have inside our local storage. Let's leave it here empty for now. I will say console log, and I will write here local storage and get item, and which item I'm gonna get? It's gonna be Persist root. That's because it's our key. If I do that, it's gonna return me this value, and let's see. Persist root. And as you can see, every information here. But as you realize, it's just a text. It's a string. How I'm gonna transform this to a JSON file? JSON object. It's really easy. If I come here and cover this, and I'm gonna write json.parse. And as you can see right now, it's an JSON object, but there is still a problem here. If we call this current user, let's see, let's try. As you can see, it's a still string. So basically, I should do the same thing here. So if I cover this again, and if I say JSON and parse, and right now our user is an object. Perfect. Let's take this access token and it's here. Perfect. I can use it. Of course, it's not the best way to do it, but it's just a beginner project. I know some of you say, why you're not using Redux and cookies? Just calm down. We are gonna do all those projects. We are doing step by step. Okay, let's use this token. By the way, inside our storage, Redux and store, we are using only user reducer, so we are taking this user directly. But what if we have multiple reducer, like here, user, card, or whatever? So instead of writing like that, let's open this, and I will just delete this card. We are gonna add our products or any other things later. For now, it will be just a user. So I will change here, and I'm gonna save. Let's clear our root, and I'm gonna refresh the page. And right now, as you can see, it's inside user. First we have user and then current user. Right now I'm gonna delete here. Let's see what we have first. And current user here, and finally access token. Okay, perfect. Right now we can use this here. I will delete this code and paste here. Okay. Perfect. So I will do the same thing for client side. Let's come below and request methods. I'm gonna delete here and paste my token. Oops, we already have. Let's delete. Okay, awesome. Let's close. And everything is ready. So let's close everything. We can see our home page. I think we should write here a condition if we have user. Let's go over here. By the way, we should write here React fragments. That's because we have multiple components here. And I will close my tag. Okay, I'm gonna write here a condition. If we have user, we will be able to see other pages. So what can I say here? Let's say const admin, and I can use the same thing here. JSON pairs, and instead of access token, I'm gonna say is admin. And I'm gonna write here, if there is a user, if there is an admin, we are gonna see all those components like that. Awesome. Okay, I think we are ready. Let's take care of our components and let's integrate with API. For those components, I think we don't need Redux. It's not vital. That because it's just fetching data, we are not changing anything, we are not deleting here. But for the users page, for example, or products page, we are gonna be using Redux. So let's fetch customers first. New join members. So I'm gonna open this small widget component. Components, widget small, and this JSX file. Okay. Let's first create our users, const users, and set users, and use state. And initial state will be an empty array, and after that we are gonna fetch our data. Let's write here user fact, and I'm gonna write here my fetching function. It's gonna be const get users. I will say async function, and here const response. I'm gonna be using user request, await user request. Let's check again. I always forget this name. Yeah, user request, but why is it not showing this folder? Okay, anyway. Let's import here. Request methods and user request. Okay, it's gonna be get method, and I will say users, and remember we can use query here, and it's gonna be new and true. In our API route we can fetch all users, and also we can fetch new 5 users. Okay, and after that I'm gonna set my state, set users, response, and data. And by the way, you can write here try catch block if you want to catch your errors, but we are not gonna handle that. If you want to, you can set here errors, and if there is an error you can just print that error here. But anyway, and finally I'm gonna call my get users function. Let's use it. Image will be users.image. It was image or profile picture, or we didn't create any. API and user model. Okay, we didn't create any profile picture. I will say image, and type will be string. Okay, and it's not gonna be required. Okay, let's close here, and I'm gonna say if there is no image, use no avatar picture. I'm just gonna copy and paste here. I just found this on Google. Let's see what we have. Okay, something like that. Of course we can delete other users here. We need only one of them, so let's delete other allies. Okay, and I'm gonna write here users.map, and for each user I'm gonna call this component this ally. Okay, of course it's gonna be user, not users, and here I should provide my key, unique key. It's gonna be user.id. So let's take care of this name. It's gonna be user.username. We don't have any job title, we can delete here. And it's gonna be display button. Let's see. Okay, they are not here, something is wrong. Let's open network tab and I'm gonna refresh page again. We can't fetch, you are not authenticated. It's not using this token, something is wrong there. Let's open up request method. It's not able to take this token, I think. Let's console log and see. Token. Yeah, it's here. What's wrong? By the way, this error comes from our table here. It's not important, we are gonna fix it. But our token is here. Why we can't do that? And we are an admin. Let's open Postman. It will be headers, I think. Not header. Let's see. I will refresh. Okay, they are here. It was just a silly mistake. Okay. As you can see, they are our last members. We have only 3 members right now. So what about here? This biggest one. I can copy here and paste for widget large. And this time it's not gonna be users, it's gonna be orders. Use state, let's import and use effect. Let's see what we have inside order model. I will open up here. We have user ID, products, amount, address and status. And also created at time. If you wish, you can fetch users, username and image here by using user ID, but I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna use user ID. Let's import this user request and set orders. And it's gonna be get orders. Let's change here. Orders. Okay, let's use it. Again, I'm gonna delete these additional TRs here. We need only one, and after that we are gonna map through this one item. So let's do that. I will say order and orders and map, and for each order we are gonna return this component, this TR. So let's delete this image, and instead of name I will say order.userid, and it's gonna be created at time, order.created at, order at amount, and button type will be order and status. Okay, something like that, but our date looks a little bit ugly, so there's a useful library for this. We can use yarn at timeago.js. So we are gonna see our dates more readable. Instead of order and created at, I'm gonna write here format, and it's gonna come from our new library. I will say import format from timeago. Let's see again. It's more readable. So what about this status? As you can see, we don't have any color. That because let's open up our CSS. Our class names start with capital letter. Let's make them lowercase, and let's see again. Okay, perfect. Let's take care of this user analytics, this chart. If you remember, when we fetch user stats, it returns us the month number and total user. For example, this is August and this is September. How we are gonna convert them to month name. So we don't need them anymore. If you open up your chart component, if you watch the admin template video, we are taking title, data, and data key props from parent. And what's our parent here? It's our home page. Here, we are sending our data and title and data grid. But we are taking this data from dummy data file. Let's see what's inside. As you can see, January active users, 4,000, February, something like that. So we are gonna convert our array like that. September active users, October active users, something like that. Okay, let's do that. Firstly, I'm gonna create here use state const user stats, set user stats. It's gonna be use state, and at the beginning it's gonna be an empty array. Okay, so right now I'm gonna create an array which includes our month's name. I will just copy and paste here. As you can see, months and all months names. And by the way, we are gonna be using use memo, that because when we create here a user fact, these months will be our dependency, but it's never gonna change. So I will say user fact. I'm gonna leave here empty and you will understand better right now. So let's say const get stats. It's gonna be async function not equal. Okay, and I will say try catch block. And inside const response and await, I'm gonna use user request again, and it's gonna be get method. And remember our endpoint users and stats. Let's take our response and data, and I'm gonna use map. And for each item, I will say set stats, user stats here, and take the previous and spread these previous items, and finally add new one. Name months, our months array, and it's gonna be item ID. Remember, it's our months number. And finally, it's gonna be -1. Oops, dot here. For example, if it's 9, which is September, 9 minus 1 will be 8, and 8 item inside this array will be September. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you can see, it's gonna be September. And additionally, I'm gonna write here active user or new user, whatever you say, and it's gonna be item.total. By the way, I can delete here. And as you can see, it warns us. It says you have missing dependency, which is months. We should add this here. Let's call our function here. And let's see what we have. User stats, console log, user stats. I'm gonna open console. There is something wrong, it's empty. By the way, we can delete this JWT, and also we should give unique key for our maps. They are not important. We are gonna fix them, but something is wrong. Oh, okay. I forgot slash here. And as you can see, we have August active user 2 and September active user 1. So we can apply this to our chart. I'll delete here, and it's gonna be user stats. And perfect. August active 2 users, and September only 1. Awesome. It works. So let's delete this token here, console log token. Okay. For widget small, okay, we have key here, widget large. Okay, we don't have, let's add. It's gonna be key and order.id. Okay. So let's take care of this revenue. We are gonna take care of only one item here, that because we didn't create any cost model in our API. It's inside our featured components, I think, here. Let's open. Okay, quickly I will say const income and set income. And it's gonna be use state. And at the beginning, empty array. Quickly use effect. And I will say const get income async. Maybe I should copy and paste, but I don't know, maybe some of you just wanna see it again and again. So I will say const response, and it's gonna be await user request. It's gonna be get again. By the way, I forgot here catch. Okay. Why it's not importing? Interesting. Request methods and user request. Okay, I'm gonna write here orders and income. Remember, it returns the income of this month and the income of the previous month. And after fetching data, I will say set state, and it's gonna be response and data. I'm gonna call this function here, and let's see what we have. Income. By the way, we didn't fix this table, but we are gonna do. Don't worry about that. As you can see, again, month number and total. So we are gonna write here the latest amount, latest sales. And here we are gonna compare the latest sales and the previous sales. And finally, we are gonna write here the percentage. To do that, let's create one more use state. And at the beginning, it will be 0, and I will say percentage. So let's set that also. I will say set percentage, response and data, and 1, latest sales. And I'm gonna get the total 200, and I'm gonna compare with 150. How I'm gonna do this? It can be confusing if you don't know basic math, but for others it's really easy, I think. It's gonna just divide it by the previous total, response and data, and previous, and finally total. If I say minus 100, it's gonna give me the percentage. Let's write here percentage and see what we have. As you can see, it's 33% more than the previous month. I can use this percentage and this income. I will come here and I'm gonna say, let's delete here, take the previous sales, which is income, and 1, and it's gonna be total. Like that. So what about here? I can delete here and write my percentage. Like that. Of course, you can use math library to prevent long numbers, so I will say math and floor, and it's gonna be percentage. And as you can see, it just floors our number, our float. So what about this negative arrow? We can write here a condition also. I will say if percentage is smaller than 0, we are gonna use the negative one, which is arrow downward and negative. If it's not, if it's greater than 0, it's gonna be this positive one, upward. Let's use it here. And I'm gonna close here and save my file, and let's see. And as you can see, it's positive right now. Perfect. I hope you understood. So finally, we finished our homepage. As I said, you can take care of other widgets here. Let's open up our products page. As you can see, we are using this beautiful data grid. Right now, we are gonna fetch products, we are gonna edit them, delete them, and add new one. To do that, we are gonna be using Redux. Let's create second slice. Okay, I will close here and I'm gonna open up Redux folder. Let's close here also for now. Okay, I will say product Redux. So I'm gonna paste the default slice here. Let's close and let's see what we have. It's exactly the same thing. We have create slice function and we are creating our product slice. Its name is product and our initial state will be products pending or it's fetching, doesn't matter, whatever you say. Let's write is fetching actually for the consistency. And error. At the beginning, our array will be empty, and after that, we are gonna have reducers and we are gonna export them. So what kind of reducers do we have? Firstly, we are gonna fetch our data. So it's gonna be get all. First, we are gonna start fetching our data. If it's successful, we are gonna update our products. If it fails, we are gonna update our error. It's gonna be true. To do that, firstly, I will say get product and start. I'm gonna take my state. I'm not writing action here, that because we will not have any action payload. So in this case, we can update our is fetching property here. It will be true and error will be false. And after that, let's duplicate this. It's gonna be product get product success. In this case, we are gonna have action and payload. So I can write here action and comma here. Okay. So in this case, if it's successful, it means is fetching process is completed. So it can be false. Error was already false, so we don't have to write here. What I'm gonna do is updating my products. It was an empty array. Right now, it's gonna be action.payload. What if it fails? Let's write here failure. And again, we don't need any action and payload. If you want to, you can update your errors like action and payload, but I'm just gonna make it true. Error. Okay. So right now, I can export my reducers here. Start, success, and failure. Okay. They are gonna be our actions and we are gonna dispatch them. To do that, I should create a function here. Let's copy and paste. And it's gonna be get products. And it's gonna be only dispatch. We don't need any other parameters here. And I will say get products and start. and I will make API request, which is products. I will delete here. It can be public requests. And finally, if it's successful, I will say get products and success. If it's not, get products failure. So I can use this function right now. Let's come here and open our products page. Product list. Firstly, I'm gonna import React Redux use dispatch. I can create here use effect, and whenever we open this product page, we can fetch our data. Empty array, and I'm gonna say get products from Redux and API calls, and here only thing I should do is sending my dispatch, but we didn't create here. Let's create const dispatch. It's gonna be use dispatch hook. Let's send this dispatch. In this case, our dependency will be dispatch, and let's see. I'm gonna open up my Redux tool. Here, as you can see, it's working. Start and failure. Why it fails? Let's see. Refresh. Ah, we sent post method. Let's make it get. And by the way, we didn't update our store. Let's do that. It's gonna be product reducer from product Redux. And I'm gonna use it here. By the way, you don't have to persist. You can use only user, and you can store your products in normal way. But I prefer writing here. So I will say product and product reducer. Okay, let's see. I will refresh the page, and not memory, Redux. And as you can see, get product start, get product success. And our products are here. Awesome. Let's see here. As you can see, title, description, image, everything is here. So how can I display them here? It's really easy. If you remember, we are using use selector hook from React Redux. We can use it, use selector. And I will say const products, and I will say use selector and take the state and return me state.product and all products inside that state. And after that, I can use it here. In this case, we don't need any dummy data. I can delete here. Or it can stay. We are going to handle this later, and we are going to delete it later. And after that, I will come here for my data grid, and it's going to be my products. But if I do that, it's not going to work. Console, and as you can see, data grid requires unique ID for each item, but we don't have here. That's because we are using ID here, but in our DB underscore ID. In this case, I should provide my new ID here. It's going to be get row ID, and it's going to be row and take row dot underscore ID. Let's see right now. Okay, as you can see, it works, but we should edit here. Some more properties are missing and some columns are really small. Let's take care of them. Firstly, I wanna make this 220 maybe, like that. And we have image, params row name. It's not gonna be name, it's gonna be title. Perfect. And here, our row name is stock, but in DB, remember, its name is in stock. It returns us a boolean. Let's see. Okay, perfect. And we don't have any status field. I can delete here. Okay, perfect. As you can see, our all items are here. So how I'm gonna delete them? When I click this, we should dispatch our delete method, but we don't have yet. Let's create. It will be easy. I will just duplicate this and it's gonna be delete. Let's write here. Delete, product start, success and failure. And again, is fetching true, error false. And here is fetching will be false. But how I'm gonna delete my item? If you are using Redux Toolkit, you can use splice method. For the regular Redux, it's impossible to do that. That's because it means you are mutating your state. But for toolkits, we can do this. So I will say splice. And I'm gonna write, if you don't know this function in JavaScript, basically you are providing here an index, let's say 2. And second parameter will be how many items you want to delete after this index. For example, just 1. So basically, let's say we have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is our array. If I say splice and index number is 2 and desired deleted item number is 1, so it counts here 0, 1 and 2 and starts from this index and deletes just one item, which is 3, like that. So it's really easy. But there's a problem here. We don't know item index. Firstly, we should find it. It's really easy, nothing complex. I'll say state.products, which is our previous array, and I will say find index. And it's gonna be take item, check for each item, and say if item.id equals action.payload.id. And after finding our index, you can write just 1 here and it's gonna delete this item. I will save. And failure will be the same. Let's make our API call. I will copy and paste and it's gonna be our delete method. Delete function, I will say delete product. And I'm gonna write here ID and dispatch. But we didn't export them, I think. Let's do that. Delete start, delete success and delete failure. Okay, I can import them right now. Delete product start, success and failure. Let's import them. Delete. Okay. In this case, we are gonna start first, and after we are gonna make delete request, and it's gonna be products, and additionally we should write here the product ID. So I can use backticks, and here I will say ID. By the way, it's not gonna be a public request, that because we should be admin to delete our products. So I will say user request here. Okay. If I do that, it's gonna delete the product from our DB, but I don't wanna do that. That because we have only a couple items. I don't wanna delete them and add again to show you. So it works, trust me. Because I'm not gonna do that. And after that, if it's successful, I'm gonna write here my ID and it's gonna take this ID and update the state. In this case, I don't have to write here ID, it's just action and payload. I'm sending just one item here. So let's try. I hope it will work. I'm gonna open product list again. And for handle delete function, we don't need this anymore. And this data and this product rows. Let's clean here. Okay. What I'm gonna do is calling delete product from API calls and sending ID and dispatch. Let's see. I'm gonna try to delete this one. Oops. Why it's not deleting this? ID. Everything looks okay, but something is wrong. We are sending ID here. Oh, okay, it's not ID, it's underscore ID. Let's try again. I'm gonna delete this one, and as you can see, they are gone. Perfect. If you open your Redux here, you are gonna see delete product start and success. Awesome. So what about product page here? Okay, firstly, let's select product from inside the state. I will close all of them and I'm gonna open product page here. Okay, if we turn back and hover over edit button, you're gonna see on the bottom left, it says product and undefined. We should provide product ID instead of undefined. Let's see what's wrong there. Product list, not CSS here. We should correct this, it will be underscore. And right now, as you can see, it's our product ID. Okay, perfect. So let's take this ID and select our product. I'm gonna open product again. And remember what we are doing. We can use location again. Const location. It's gonna be use location. I will import this here. Okay. After that, I'm gonna select my product ID. Const product ID. And it's gonna be location and path name. And I will split this /and 2. Okay, we have ID right now. Let's select our product. Const product. It's gonna be use selector. And it will be state and state.product and products. Remember, it's our array. And I'm gonna try to find my item. I will say find for each product, check the product ID. .id, if it equals our product ID, it means it's our product. Don't be confused, it's really easy. Inside our product array, we are trying to find our product by using its ID. Okay, we can use it right now. We have image here, let's change it. Product.image. Product.title. ID. Of course, underscore ID. We don't have active property, and in stock will be product.instock. Let's see. Okay, perfect. It's here. So what about here? Let's do the same thing. Product ID, title, in stock, yes or no. I will change them, true or false. We don't have active section. Let's delete. And by the way, I can add description here and price. Let's say product description and price. Product.price. Let's see. Okay, nice. What about this image? Let's change quickly. Product.image. Okay, so what about this chart? As you remember, we have income chart here in the home page, but there is something wrong. Okay, it's not reading total. Let's open up our featured info and here I will say if there is income. Let's see. And as you remember, it's our orders and income. So I can do exactly the same thing for product here. But we don't have this option in the API. Let's fix it. It's really easy. I will say order from API. Okay, it calculates our last two incomes. So what I will do is writing here a query. I will say const product ID. It's gonna be request query and let's say product ID, PID. So what I'm gonna do is if there is a product ID, I'm gonna add one more condition here. It's not gonna be only created at date. So I will say, and I want you to focus on here that because it might be new for you, this is how you can create conditional objects. I will just use spread operator. And I will say if there is a product ID, create new condition, products, because remember, let's open up order model. We have user ID and products array. So I can make a condition and say if product ID includes my request and query and product ID. So what I will do is writing here element match and it's gonna be product ID. You can be confusing because it's exactly the same name. You can write here product ID equals product ID. If they are in same name, you don't have to write like that. It can be like this. Okay, let's check. I will close here and here. I hope everything is okay. And I'm gonna write here product stats using useState. I will say const product stats and set product stats. And I will write useState. And at the beginning, it's gonna be an empty array. And after that, I will create again my months. Let's write here, maybe under our selector, like that. And I will import use memo. And then I'm gonna create again the use effect, like that. I just created a function. It fetches orders and income, and it's gonna be our product ID. And finally, we are gonna choose month's name, like so. And finally, I just created one more property here, and it's gonna be item and total. So let's use it here. Our data will be product stats, and data key is sales. That's why I write here sales. And title will be sales performance. Let's save. I will refresh. And as you can see, September 100 and August 100. But August should be here and September here. Let's do this. I will just sort my data. What I can do, I can say const list and response and data. I'm just gonna sort this data. I will say take A and B, take two items and compare them and return a.id -b.id. So in this case, it's gonna work properly. Let's change this. Okay, let's see. Okay, this time August is here, September is here. Okay, I'm not gonna show you how to update your items here because we are gonna do the same thing in create page. We are gonna upload our images, we are gonna change these inputs, and we are gonna create new item. So it's gonna be exactly the same thing here. But if you want, I can show you how to edit your product Redux, and after that it will be much more easier for you. Product Redux, and we have delete here. I'm gonna duplicate this again, and it's gonna be update. Let's change those names. Update, and let's replicate this and change names again. Okay. So what we are gonna do here? Start will be the same. Actually, if you don't wanna write this again and again, you can create new action here and you can say just start or something. You don't have to use it each time. But anyway. And after that, if it's successful, its fetching will be false. And how we are gonna update our item? It's really easy. You can do like that. And if you just write here its index, and if you say equals, for example, 10, it's gonna be updating the item which has index ID 2. So in this case, it's gonna be 0, 1, and 2. So we are gonna change this, it's gonna be 10. It works like that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find my index again, but we are not gonna use splice. So I can delete here. And what I will say is find my index, update this using action and payload and new user. Let's say user. In this case, we are going to be using two payloads. So I will update here. It's going to be ID. So it's going to find your item and update with new one. Okay. So what about adding new item? Let's say add, and I will add here. Okay. It's really easy. Only thing I should do is coming here and saying push and action.payload. That's all. Perfect. Basically, it adds new item to our array. Let's create our API call. I will duplicate this and update product and add product. It's gonna take a user, new user, which admins enter here, and after that it's gonna be update product actions, and finally we are gonna give an object here which is ID, and it's gonna be, by the way, we can't say user ID, that because when you enter here something, it's gonna include only title, description, price and image. So it means we should take ID also. So ID will be ID and user will be user. As I said before, if you are using same name, you can write it like that. Okay, let's import them. This tree will be update and these will be add. Okay. And of course, you're gonna update your item using Axios user request. And here we are gonna take user from. By the way, we are not in the user page. It's gonna be product. I'm so sorry. Let's change them. Product. Okay, here is normal. What about our Redux? Products, and okay, we said user here is gonna be product. Okay, so I'm gonna send here product and dispatch, and we are gonna dispatch our add product actions. Let's open this comment, and I will delete here. It's gonna be post method. Oops, post. And we are gonna send our product. Okay, if it's successful, we are gonna take this response and data as a payload, and we are gonna dispatch this. Okay, let's close everything and open create new product page. New product here. Let's click here and let's see what we have. Firstly, we have image name. It's going to be title, in stock, active. Let's change them. Image is okay. It's going to be title. It can be AirPods. It can stay here. Maybe I can change here. It can be true or false. So I'm going to be using select. And option. First one will be true and false. Let's write here yes or no. And after title, by the way, we can add our price and description. Description and price. Like that. Now we don't have this section. Let's delete it. Here I'm gonna delete this section, and that's all. I think it's really easy to take those items, those inputs, and call our add product function from API calls. But what about this image, where we are gonna upload this? When I click this button, we are gonna choose any image. And after that, when we create our item, it's gonna upload this image to Firebase. It's gonna take the response, which is image URL. And finally, we are gonna complete our object, product object, and we will be able to send this through our API call. To use Firebase, I just open console.firebase.google.com and also Firebase storage documentation. We are gonna upload our image like in the example here. But before, if you want to, let's take care of our inputs. Title, description. By the way, we forgot here our categories. Let's add that also. After price, maybe. It's gonna be categories and placeholder, jeans and maybe skirts. And don't forget, it's gonna be an array. So let's create our use state and take care of our inputs. I will say const product or inputs, set inputs. I will say use state. At the beginning, it's gonna be an empty object. And after that, one more use state. It's gonna be our file. Let's say file or image. And finally, I'm gonna create my categories. I just separated them for that because it will be an array. So we should split our categories first, category string, and after we are gonna create an array, and at the ending we are gonna combine all these states. Okay, I'm gonna create on change event for these inputs. So let's say not for image, it will be different. For title, on change, it's gonna be handle change. Let's copy this for description, price, and select. Okay. So what about these categories? I will say handle categories. And for the image, on change, but this time I'm gonna directly set my state. Event and set file event.target, but this time it's gonna be files. I'm gonna take just one file because it's a single file. Okay, let's create them. Const handle change, handle file and categories. Actually, we don't need file, we have already done, so it's gonna be categories. Okay, let's update our inputs. I will say set inputs, take previous inputs, and return new one. I will say previous and event target dot name. It's gonna be event target and value. But we don't have name. This is our target, but as you can see, we don't have names. So let's create, I will say name, title, it's gonna be description, price. Just make sure that those names are exactly the same names inside your DB in product collection, and stock. Okay, let's see console log and inputs. As you can see, title is here, description, price, and in stock. Okay, by the way, price will be number, not text. So I will come here and change this number. Okay, so what about categories? We are gonna separate our categories using comma, like that. And we are gonna take these two items and create an array. It's very easy. Only thing we should do is using split method. So I'll say set categories and event target dot value, and let's use split and comma. Let's see. As you can see, they are separated. Perfect. So we are done. We created all of our inputs. Right now, we can create a click event and send our data to DB. Let's say on click, it's gonna be handle click. Let's create this. Const handle click event, and I'm gonna say prevent default. Okay, and after that, I'm gonna upload my file and call my API call. So let's create our Firebase project. I will say create new project. It's gonna be, shop. Okay, I don't want any analytics. It's gonna create soon. And after that, we are gonna import those functions and use inside new product component. By the way, I'm gonna create Firebase.js. Firebase.js, and it's gonna include all our Firebase configuration. But before, I should import Firebase library. Let's say yarn add Firebase. And during this process, we can initiate our Firebase application. So I'll say continue, And here, let's create our web application. App nickname, let's say shop again. It really doesn't matter. And after that, it's gonna provide us our configuration. Let's copy this and paste here. And I'm gonna export my application. Export default, and it's gonna be app. Okay, right now I can use this application inside my component. Let's close here. But firstly, I just wanna give image name for my file. Let me show you console log and file. And when I choose any file here, there is a mistake here. Let's fix it. Set file, target files. Oops, it should be here. Let's choose again. And as you can see, we have file here, all those informations, and additionally, we have file name. But if we use this file name, whenever we try to upload same file, not same file, but a file with same name, it's just gonna overwrite this file. To prevent this, I'm gonna try to give a unique name. Let's come here and say const file name, and I'm gonna use the current date. I will say new date. It's gonna return me a timestamp, get time, and after that I will say file.name. So it's gonna take our name here and it's gonna add the current date here, a timestamp. So basically it's gonna be a unique file. And after that, let's use get storage, ref, and other functions here and upload our file. I will say const storage. It's gonna be get storage, and I'm gonna provide my app. Let's import this also. Import app from Firebase. Okay. So it's ready to upload. I can create my storage ref, const storage ref, and it's gonna be ref, my storage, and my file name. It's a capital letter. Okay. If you look at here, you can just follow from this page. Actually, I can just copy and paste. Okay, it warns us that because there is no default, I think. Okay, it's gonna be storage ref, or it can be just like that. Okay. Basically, we start our uploading process here. And you can write here if you want, you can delete, doesn't matter. It just shows us our progress bar in the console. If you want to, you can create another use state and say percentage, for example. And you can set your percentage here and show to user as you wish. And after that, if there is no error, it's gonna give us our image URL. But before, let's open up our console and storage here. I will say get started. As you can see, each storage has a rule and it says allow read and write if the user is authenticated. But we are not using Firebase authentication, so we don't need that. I'm gonna change it. I will click rules and I'm gonna delete here. Or if you want to, you can just say equals. If it's null, it means even if there is no authenticated user, he can read and write. Let's try actually. I will choose one of them and I will say create. As you can see, it shows the percentage and finally it gives this URL. Let's see. This is our image. Perfect. So instead of printing this URL, we are gonna create our product, and we are gonna send this product to our DB. So if I write here inputs, I will spread this, and for image this download URL, and for categories it's gonna be cat. Let's see what we have. I will choose new file. Let's write here something. I will create. After uploading file, as you can see, we have the complete product: title, price, stock, image, description, and categories. Perfect. So what I'm gonna do is writing here const product, and it's gonna be this object. And after that, let's say add product. It's not the correct name. Let's check. API calls. Yes, add product. But it's not importing. It's here. Okay. And finally, what we are sending, remember, our product and dispatch. Product and dispatch. Of course, we don't have. Let's create here const dispatch, use dispatch. Okay, let's delete this, by the way. It's ready, I think. Let's see. I hope everything is okay. I will choose file. Let's open our Redux tool, by the way. We can follow here. Title, red skirt. Description, Lama Dev, and price 100. Categories, skirt, maybe woman. In stock will be yes. Okay, let's create. Where is our Redux tool? Okay, here. I will create, and failure. Let's see what's wrong. Network, API products, post. Let's see. Okay, user request, post. I don't have to do that. That's because we are already sending an object. Let's try again. Create. And as you can see, it's successful. Let's check here. Add product start and success. Awesome. And as you can see, my skirt is here. My skirt. Let's check products. And it's here. Awesome. It works. If I try to edit, we haven't sold yet, but all those informations are here. Awesome. I think you understood. I don't have to create update. It will be the same, your inputs, your image. After taking all these information, only thing you should do is dispatching your update actions. But we already created here, I think. Yes, here. Only thing is calling this function and sending your product ID and product. And for the user page, let's see. It's exactly the same thing, nothing different, so I'm not gonna waste your time and my time. You are gonna fetch data, you can create client Redux and client slice, and after that you can fetch them, delete them, edit them, and create new user. I hope it was a good tutorial. And again, this project is not completed. It's just homework for you. Just handle these users and update your products. And also you can create, as I said, your costs, sales, and you can calculate your revenue and take care of all others features. Remember, it's just a tutorial. It's not a complete project. Sometimes I see people say in the comment, why you didn't add comments, why you didn't add logout feature or something. If you really understand this tutorial, it's probably the easiest thing here. Your user Redux, you will say logout and state and state dot current user, and it's gonna be an empty object again, and that's all. Or null here, you can say null, and that's all. You just logged out. Please see this tutorial as a learning path, how to use Redux, how to create components, how to combine API calls with Redux, how to fetch data, how to make CRUD operations. You're gonna have tons of errors, but just be patient and follow instructions. If you get any error, just ask your questions in the Lama Dev social media groups, and that's all I think. So we finished our project. If you want to deploy this app, you can watch the free deployment video or the VPS deployment video. I hope you liked it. If you learned something new today, please like the video and leave a comment. And you can support the channel by using the join button or the link in the description below. And don't forget to follow Lama Dev's social media accounts. You can find inspiration there and you can ask your questions. So that's all. I hope I will see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.